everybody, and welcome to another PTS video with me, Sherman. Today, guys, I'm taking a look at the new changes that are coming with the 7.3.0 patch that are on the PTS. This is for the Ascending Tide DLC, which will be coming out on March 14th. And I've been looking at a lot of the skill changes and how that affects gameplay. Now, I have only been testing in Overland, but I do want to talk a little bit about it. I will do more of this kind of stuff as the PTS progresses and over time, but I do want to talk about this. So, taking a look at the skills I have on my bar. I used Shrouded Daggers for getting major brutality and major spell damage. I only used it for the major brutality, though, because of my stats. You can see I have a higher weapon damage, I have a higher stamina. My max magic is at 2,400 or 24,000. I have 28,000 max magicka. But overall, what I'm seeing with the way this plays now, and a 32% crit, you know, I have 6,000 penetration. And what I'm seeing is I am seeing roughly about a 5 to 10% increase in my total DPS. Now, the skills, like I said, I'm using on my bar. Punishing Sweeps, which is a magicka ability. As you can see, it deals magic damage and it deals magic damage over time. It also reduces enemy movement speed, but it also heals you for 41% of the damage done. I'm using Luminous Shards, which deals magic damage up front and magic damage every second for 10 seconds. On top of that, it is a synergy. It's great for group play. I'm using Solar Barrage, which does do magic damage every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. And then while this ability is active, you gain Empower, increasing the damage of your light and heavy attacks by 40%. This is great for light attack weaving. And then on the back, I'm also using Inner Light on both bars. This gives you the Major Savagery, Major Prophecy, now increasing both spell and weapon critical. And it increases your max magicka by 5%, which is great for me, being a hybrid. I also have the Radiant Aura, which allows me to put Magicka Steel on any enemy within 28 meters of me, which allows me to sustain better. On Magicka, I have Purifying Light. This does magic damage, it stacks magic damage, and then it does a heal afterwards. I'm using Extended Ritual, which is a heal, and this does scale off of your max magicka, or would scale off max stamina or magicka before, but now it's just both. It doesn't matter. So it's really interesting to use some of these skills because of how much you can get out of them now. Like, because they scale with your max primary stat, your max offensive stat, which in my case is stamina and weapon damage, I can actually do a lot more, which means I can actually change my build to be weapon damage on both of these, as I did, the mag recovery, and then still use the sets that I use, which is Hunting's Rage and the Bloodthorns. And this build is basically an infinite sustain. Like, I can sustain forever with the magicka and stamina. Now, like I said, I haven't tested in a dungeon yet, but I plan on showing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump right over here to Volenfell, and we're going to run a little bit of this dungeon, and you guys can see for yourselves how this can be effective. Like, how hybrids can be really effective, not only for the base game stuff, but also the in-game stuff. Now, I don't remember if I jumped into this a veteran or not, so I'm going to go ahead and look. Yes, it is veteran. This is good. So, how I do not have this book on this character, I don't know. But let's go ahead and start off by buffing, dropping a heal, Purifying Light. Go ahead and pop my buffs again. Now, I do have to admit, the Spear Shards, I wasn't too happy with the diameter of the range, because it's only 6 meters. Oops, wrong button. But I do have to say that I was quite surprised with everything so far. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a potion because I do need some magicka. But again, like, I'm using a lot more magicka abilities than I normally would. Usually I'm only using magic abilities on the front bar and on the back bar. But as you can see, like, I didn't have too much trouble killing all this stuff. And this is in veteran, and this is on a hybrid character. This is me playing by myself. And normally I don't solo this content. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go to my weapons, dual wield. I'm going to grab Deadly Cloak instead of the Solar Barrage, which gives me Empower. I'm going to try it with that. And then on the front bar, I'm also going to go with Blood Craze, and I'm going to move this over to where Spear Shards is. Back bar, I'm going to move this out. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the Solar Barrage. Now, again, remember, the Prism still, or not Prism, Illuminate still only gives you minor sorcery. So it's really not going to affect me at all for using Solar Barrage, but I do get the Empower, which is going to be nice for my light attack weaving. And now that I got the build set up better for more of a DPS type setup, I'm going to go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and use an ultimate. And look at this. I'm sustaining magicka, stamina at the same time because I'm using all these abilities. And even though I am, I can sustain pretty well, I will admit. Like, and that's the other thing I want to talk about is in the Aedric Spear ability, Burning Light now deals just magic damage. It doesn't deal your physical damage. So it just basically deals a crap ton of magic damage, which I think is also great. I think that this new change, again, is something that's going to add a new element to the game in this sense. Like, we're getting a lot of really good stuff from this. And yes, I can self-sustain because I can just super heal myself through all this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that. There we go. Now I'm gonna get a lot of AoEs going on. But yeah, Templars just became super OP in soloing pretty much everything because we can now heal with our own abilities. But then when you look at some of the other abilities, and this is something that a lot of people brought up in other videos, was talking about Echoing Vigor. It does still cost stamina, but now it heals based off of your primary super stat, so, or your primary stat, so stamina and weapon damage, and you can see it still heals for a lot. But then even when you look at the Restoring Light abilities that I have, like Breath of Life, this heals for a large amount. Ritual Retribution still heals for a large amount. Extending Ritual heals for a decent amount, but it's more of like a heal over time. So really good things I'm seeing right now on the on here. And then the fact that they talked about the Power Bash. Power Bash is now considered a bash ability, so it can interrupt and all that kind of stuff. It is considered bash, but you can see even for me, if I was using the Sword and Shield, I would still get about 8,000 damage out of it for using it, and then whatever the morph might be, I'd get even more. So I think that this change is great. Now I do want to talk a little bit about Soul Magic, because like Soul Magic, they made that adjustment before to this where it would scale off your whatever stat was higher. As you can see, it says here the ability scales off your max health, magic, and stamina. So it does scale. The affected enemy dies, you get you heal for so much, restore so much magic and stamina. You can see now it does a lot more. It's making abilities that we wouldn't normally use in the game even better. Like, look at Soul Assault now. This is on a stamina-based character. Now, Ultimate's always scaled off your highest primary stats anyways. But now, like, this thing is really good. It does have a 6-second channel time, which is kind of but it's still really good. At max level, it's a 5-second channel time. So a lot of the abilities that I'm seeing and a lot of the use I'm seeing that you can get out of certain abilities, like Binding Javelins is a stamina ability. It still does a ton of damage. Dawn's Wraith, like Radiant Glory, I can actually use this now as a execute, and I can actually take advantage of it, which is really good. It just, to me, like, this change, just from the little bit of time, like the hour and a half that I've been testing, is an extraordinary update to the existing players, to the the use of skills, and the fact that skills are now can be widely used, because like anybody can use a mage's skill ability, anybody can use Sigil Order, and it doesn't matter the morph because it scales off your higher stats. It's the hybridization, the hybrid play, that a lot of people are going to be like, what's going to be the best overall stat values to have to play a hybrid, and that's going to take a little bit to figure out. But I have a general idea of like the perfect range stat wise, like how much, like if you're playing primarily for magic, like max magic and spell damage, and then using some stamina abilities, or if you're playing primary stamina with weapon damage, like how much of stamina you need to bring in magic abilities, or how much magicka you need to bring in stamina abilities, like looking at where those prime stats sit. So in this case, our magicka stamina, like I have 64 points into my stamina, nothing into my magicka, but because of the way I built the character, I get this. And this is one of my live character that I play on live. I haven't done anything to their gear, so they're still wearing exactly what they were on the live server, stat wise, as you can see. I have one thing with magicka, because I haven't done, usually I do 3 tri-stats on the chest, legs, and helm, and then I do a 2 magicka, or 2 stamina, 2 magicka, and then I'll dump stats. I'll dump my stats into one attribute to give me that greater benefit, so I can still focus on using both. But as you can see, like most of my stats are into stamina. I have 1 magicka, 1 health, and I'm still reaching 24k max magicka with 28k max stamina, and that's because I'm using Hunning's Rage, which gives me max stamina, but it gives me the 2 crit chance plus the weapon and spell damage. And then down here I'm using the weapon and spell damage max magicka, mag recovery, so I'm getting lots of extra weapon and spell damage. Here I'm getting the 2 things of crit, and up here I'm getting a 4% healing done. But my point here is that this kind of setup allows sets like Hunning's Rage to work with an offset, or your secondary set, as being something that has magic on it, and you can really balance out your stats pretty well, still giving you that capability to be a hybrid in the not only base game but also the end game. It's like I carry the combat physician jewelry because I used to use this on a healer, but I changed from that, and then now I want to go back with this character and put this on them and change from Hunning's Rage and the Bloodthorn to something else that gives me a little bit more stamina, so I can take advantage of the combat physician with another set. I'm still in 5 light though, as you can see here. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have 5 light pieces, and I'm wearing a medium and a heavy. And because I'm wearing a crafted stuff, I can get away with this. It allows for a lot of uniqueness and diversibility. It allows for us as players to customize our characters a lot better and a lot more effectively. And I think that this is like this setup, I'll admit, it's not for everybody, but it's a really fun setup. I just haven't finished adjusting it. Like, there's a lot of builds that I make that when I play them on live, I play one character most of the time. Like, I have 14 characters, but I only play one mostly. So I have all these characters. I just haven't had time to adjust them all like I do on the test server, like I show on the test server. But I do build them, and I do play them, and I do love them. But like what I said, it shows that there's a lot of things you can do, customization stuff, that you can do with hybrids that you can't do with a pure stamina or a pure magicka. Like a Magicka person, yes, can take something like Barb Trap because it's a cheap stamina costing ability that they can use every 15 seconds because they're not burning through a ton of resources to get this out. A pure stamina person could use something like, say, what is it? Crystal Frags, but they're not going to use it all the time. They'll be able to throw it out every once in a while. And just like now, a stamina person could throw Luminous Shards and get the benefits of the magic damage and the damage over time, and then the fact that they could give synergies to their group. They could do that in the past, but now, with the way things are, you're going to be able to build around like the hybridization of skills, attributes, weapons, spell damage, that kind of thing, depending on what your prime stat is, and you're going to be able to use these skills effectively. And then on top of that, you can also build out your resources to fit that. So you can be like purely Magicka, using a lot of magic abilities, and have some things from dual wield, like Blood Craze, Steel Tornado, Deadly Cloak with Blood Craze, and then have mostly magic abilities. And you can still get away with that because you'll only need like 20k stamina to keep it active. To keep those two abilities active, because they're dots. You just have to apply them and then let them do their course. So you'll be able to sustain those, plus dodge, roll, and block, which is going to be nice for a lot of people. But I think that, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves just yet. We need to really look at everything first before we go making this decision of like, oh, look at me, I'm a hybrid, I'm a badass. Like, don't think that the hybridization of skills is going to make you a god. The hybridization of skills is just going to let you hybridize. It's not going to make you a true hybrid unless you build for it. So it's really interesting to see the effect already. But I don't have my I do have it installed. I just haven't set it to be active, and that is my blah, 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 blah. I need to update some of these with the new thing, but I didn't have my combat metrics turned on yet, so I'm gonna turn that on later, along with all my other add-ons, and see if I can get them to work on the PTS. Hopefully I can get the damage one working, the combat metrics, because I do want to see what kind of damage I can produce with a hybrid, especially with sets like Reliquin, more of the trial-based sets, especially the perfected versions, because those are going to be the sets that a lot of people use towards the more, like, those are going to be more towards the people who focus on in-game, and allowing us to see what we can do with those allows a lot of like build diversity. But then there's still all the other sets in the game that you can intermix with those, and not only those, but intermix with other sets to give you a playstyle that fits your needs or your likes, all that kind of stuff. And for the person who asked, where's the vampire build? I am now working on it. Like, I am working it on paper, deciding what sets to use, what skills to use, all that. And then once I get it all finalized, I will bring that out. And I can tell you now, like, just from this experience, this little bit of experience messing around on my live characters and playing on the test server, this is going to be amazing what you can do. Like, being a Magicka werewolf, who would have thought that a Magicka person would be able to play a werewolf effectively? Now they can. Who would have thought that a stamina person could use vampire abilities effectively? Now they can. And this is what I'm getting at. Like, taking advantage of all these different sources of tools that are in the game and utilizing them to our advantage is what all of us have ever wanted. But now we can do it in ways that we couldn't before, and I think that's what's making the game better. So, unfortunately, guys, that's it for this video. I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of testing today. I will have more time tomorrow, because of waiting for patch notes and everything, and them coming out at, like, I don't know, it was like 12 o'clock my time, or 1 o'clock, 12:30, and then not being able to get on PTS because I did my patch notes video, until like 1:30 and only being on here for like an hour and a half, I don't have a lot of time. So I do want to say thank you to all of you watching, and gonna go ahead and close this video. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. And if you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell to be notified of new videos. And it also helps the channel grow because it gets seen more and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. That's if you want to. And other than that, thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And this guy might see you in game. Bye.